Not all verbs in Latin follow the regular pattern of endings. These exceptions are the dreaded irregular verbs. Memorization works great for mastering these scourges of a language, but so does understanding why a particular verb is irregular. I mean, if you learn what about the verb makes it irregular, then it becomes a bit less so, and it's a lot easier to remember, despite its irregularities. And also, the more you see an irregular verb, the better you'll be able to deal with the irregularity. In this video, I will discuss the irregular verb eo ire ii, which means to go, as well as its many compounds. Eo is a relatively common verb in Latin. Okay, first the present tense. Eo is it, imus, itis, eunt. So it looks a little different. The personal endings are still o, est, mus, tis, unt, but the stem of the verb seems to change for the first person singular eo and the third person plural eunt. The imperfect is pretty standard. Ibam, ibas, ibat, ibamos, ibatis, ibant, where we still have the ba, that's characteristic of the imperfect, with the regular person endings. The feature goes bo, bi, 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 boo, like first and second conjugation verbs. Ibo, ibis, ibit, ibimus, ibitis, ibunt. The perfect stem is a short I, and we add the standard perfect endings to this. Ii, isti, it, iimus, iistis, and ierunt, although you'll very often find the second person forms contracted, where both short I's combine to form a long I before an S, isti and istis. The pluperfect and future perfect are regularly formed. So here's the pluperfect, and here's the future perfect. There's an alternative form of the perfect that arose late in classical Latin, and you'll see it every so often. Instead of the perfect stem being a short it, it's a long IV, which leads to this perfect tense conjugation. Iwi, iwisti, iwit, iwimus, iwistis, iwerunt. But it's an alternate form, not the most common until relatively late in the Roman Empire. But something to keep in mind. Oh, and you can use this stem for the pluperfect and future perfect too. The present infinitive of eo is ire. That's its second principal part, and the imperatives are what you would expect. I in the singular for go, and ite in the plural for, well, go. If you're a fan of Monty Python, I'm sure you remember this phrase from The Life of Brian, Romanes eunt domus. I'd play the clip if it weren't, well, it's slightly illegal. People called Romanes, they go the house, when it really should be Romani ite domum. Romans, go home, as a command to multiple Romans. Well, watch it when you have the chance. Finally, eo has many different compounds formed by adding different prefixes to the verb to create new words. So here's a list of several of the more common words. Some of these have derivatives in English. Exeo means to go out or exit. Perish comes from pereo. Obituary from obeo. Transit and transition come from transeo. And ambition from ambio. Okay, so the only thing that's really irregular about eo is its present stem, and the fact that the verb seems to change from an e to an I, and then back to an e. It turns out that the root of eo is an ei, with a weak I. So when we add our endings onto the end of them, the ei changes to a long I in front of a consonant. But this is shortened in front of an ending of a t. But in front of the vowels a, o, and u, it changes to an e. I didn't tell you about the present subjunctive, but I'll do so now to prove this point. Eam, eas, eat, eamos, eatis, eant. And yes, don't translate this as eat. That's what my students do. Far better as let it go. And so now that song will be stuck in my head. So I brought it up to show you that the ei root changes to an e in front of a vowel. And that's also why the imperfect and future have the long I at the beginning before a consonant. E-I-bomb, A-E-bomb, becomes E-bomb, and E-I-bo, A-E-bo, becomes E-bo. So here's the present tense of eo. I talked about how the stem vowel is shortened to an E before an A, O, and U. A short I before a final T, and otherwise is a long I. And then I referenced Monty Python and Frozen. All in all, this is a pretty good video.